Hey guys, this video is going to focus mostly on the defensive layers in Path of Exile 2 that I witnessed, that I think are worth sharing, and it doesn't matter what league you play, because I think in every league you can only benefit from knowing a little bit more about defensive layers. I'm going to focus mostly on maps and not going to go into campaign too much, but keep in mind, especially with future patches, the game might change. Some things I say right here today, obviously in the future can be different. But I think for the moment, I have like some qualification to maybe talk about a few things. And yeah, let's get right into it. So first of all, defensive layers, defense, armor, evasion, energy shield. There has been a lot of talking. So I played an Invoker, yeah, level 100. And Invoker has this beautiful ascendancy node and protect me from harm. And there was like a lot of talk about people saying armor is absolutely useless forever. And I kind of want to like very shortly explain why these people think like that. And I want to say that I disagree for campaign. I think that ascendancy node, for example, in campaign can be very good and very strong. Early maps, you can also still feel the armor. At some point, it's getting a little bit bad. For that, we need math, because math is POC, and let's get right into it. So this is the formula on how to calculate armor, okay? This is going to be very fast, don't worry. This formula is basically your armor, and then you also have your armor plus 10 times the damage hit. That's how you calculate armor right now in Path of Exile 2, at least if you trust Reddit, Lemao. So basically, TLDR, when you look at this, what does this mean? If you have 5,000 armor and you get a hit that is dealing 1,000 damage, your armor is going to mitigate 1/3 of that damage. 1/3. Basically, when you are in like high maps, the hits that you're gonna take that are physical damage are somewhat between probably 200 to like 500. If you get a 500 hit, that means that 5,000 armor would like half the damage. And if you would have instead like 25k armor, that would be a lot better, because that's like 83%, right? So basically, armor for small hits is good. That's what you guys know, right? The problem is I once tanked on this level 100 character actually a tier 15 Monkey Slam. The tier 15 Monkey Slam in a map, so in the, not Backwash, the other map, Riverside, in the Riverside map, dealt 9,000 fizz damage. Now, the problem is, just think for a second like how much armor you would need to mitigate 9,000 fizz damage. If you want to mitigate like half of it, you want to have 100k armor. But then the problem is you're still taking like 4.5k damage on no mods, basically. So this is like a very, very short and hopefully useful information. Armor has a big problem. Like 100k is very hard to get in PoE 2 especially, but it has a big problem. You still need 4.5k life or ES or whatever. But now look at my character. I can just use Grim Feast, Overflow, and I'm at 17k. So with 0 PDR, actually having 0 by the way, I can tank the Monkey Slam, but good luck building a character that can tank that Monkey Slam. You guys get the point. Right now, the game is basically balanced around, at some point you just have more energy shield, and it's like barely ever worth to have armor, because it's like bound to life. Bound to life means you have like 4k life, maybe 5k life. It's all a bit iffy. But if you have problems, especially in campaign and early maps, where you have like a lot of mobs that are coming for you, that are stunning you, then armor can be quite useful. And I would actually, like, if anyone plays Invoker, recommend taking this. I did not play any warrior stuff, so cannot make an argument about that, but I just wanted to explain a little bit about armor. Evasion rating, however, is always decent, but it has a problem, because the Monkey Slam, for example, your evasion rate, you can't evade it. Yeah, Path of Exile has like one general thing. I don't know if there's like maybe a small change in PoE 2, but keep in mind, evasion rating lets you in PoE 2 evade like normal attacks and normal spells. What do I mean by that? You guys know these skellies, like for example in Act 1, in the Assynia and the Draven Graveyard, blah. There are like skelly mages, like mages that shoot fireballs, whatever. Like these are normal, evadable spells. But not everything is available. And the dangerous things usually are not available. On death effects, what that usually was in PoE 1, like the rule of thumb was, if something was an area spell or attack, like slams, area, right? Area of effect. Usually you can't evade it, but that's where Acrobatics comes in. Acrobatics feels really good at some point. Now, people always ask me how much evasion. I have no perfect solution for this, but it felt good to me when I swapped to Acrobatics, and it still feels good. I have 8.3k right now, evasion rating, with Acrobatics, and if I don't have it, it's 27.8k. This felt kind of totally fine with Wind Dancer stacks up. Now, if I click Acro, I have 73% chance to evade everything, right? Right? No, not really. That's the next point. These numbers, these percentage numbers are bait. Maybe you guys didn't play PoE 1. They are bait. What do I mean by that? They assume that you are like in a normal map and you're fighting a normal monster. And then when I click Acro, 73% chance to evade, right? Estimated evasion chance. However, often bosses in Path of Exile have a higher accuracy rating, or maybe you also saw blue packs or rare monsters that had the tag accurate. In that case, your 73% chance goes way lower. Alright? So this is low-key best case. Doesn't mean it's always 73%. But just in general, if you think about it, let's just say even if it's 50%, that's insane already. Yeah. And I said that in that one build guide. One other thing you want to know about PoE's evasion system is the following. PoE has, it's quite complex, but it basically has a system that prevents you from getting giga unlucky or giga lucky. Like 73% chance to evade, roughly, means that you evade 3 out of the 4 next attacks, right? But technically, there is, like, you can just do normal statistics. You could, like, have a chance that you evade 10 attacks in a row, but basically it has some form of system that remembers how often did you evade or how often did you not evade in the past, and that will help you to actually, you know, you will not evade 20 times in a row, and you will not be hit 20 times in a row. Yeah. So that's a very important information and makes evasion rating way better in this game. Because if you play for 22 days to reach level 100, cannot recommend by the way, but if you do, and you have 73% evasion rating, then you would probably say, okay, sometimes you can just, like, in 22 days, it's likely that you get hit 15 times in a row maybe at some point, and that's death, right? So just keep that in mind. It's not. Yeah, there is some very cool system for evasion rating. So TLDR, in the current state, yeah, armor kind of useless, but it's not really. And for that, I want to show a clip of a person that is like also played this build. And here, armor and evasion rating play a crucial role because this person swapped to acrobatics because I suggested it. Low-key feeling bad for this rip, but learn from this, okay? The death is not in vain because we need to learn from it. So at this, in this clip, the person just gets hit, stun, bam, dead. Yeah. The problem here is, in this clip, like, basically having acrobatics. Without acrobatics, this person probably doesn't die. So it's me. Now, the problem in this clip is another one that I want to talk about now. So there are character moments. That's how I define it now, moments. Some characters enter a map. When they enter a map, they are at their weakest. In PoE 1, we called this Slayer. But Slayer was also always weak, and Berserker was always bad. That's something different. We are using Grim Feast, and we are using Wind Dancer. If we enter a map, however, or another zone, our Wind Dancer has 0 stacks, and we are not overflown with Grim Feast on this character here. That means we are way weaker than later. And especially on my build, charged staff is also an ability I use. For that, I need to freeze an enemy to get it. And if I don't have that, my damage also goes a little bit down and everything feels a little bit worse. So now what does that mean for you? The build you play right now, think about it. When are moments where I can die? My character right now uses Grim Feast, but I cannot summon minions because I'm an ethical person and I don't play minions. To, like, for example, when I enter Arbiter of Ash, I am not overflown. So what is the solution for that? Okay, actually, I have this Ascendancy that is giving me like 10% damage. I could unspec this, for example, and I can go for Meditate. And then I can still be overflown when I'm fighting Arbiter, just as an example. Think about your character. Think about its strengths. Think about its weaknesses in different scenarios. Think about it for pinnacle bosses. Think about it for mapping, blah. All right? With that, like, understanding your character can improve your survivability by a lot. And when I'm entering a map, I'm permanently chicken mode, okay? I'm ready to, like, blink away and blah. So, anyways, we started watching clips. I want to show you guys a few clips where I nearly died, and this is one of them. And if you guys, I don't know if you can read the map mods. I'm just saying it. The map monsters have stun build up. I want you guys to watch this clip real quick, okay? So I am at the beginning of the map. I know I'm at my weakest, and it is a stun build up map. And instantly here, you can also see I react to it. I get stunned instantly at the beginning. I knew obviously what map I'd put in, so I'm reacting to it by going back a little bit to maybe get a better angle where I can instantly kill the snakes here. But then what happens is I do not get the good angle, and yeah, you guys see that, right? Look at it. I'm getting stunned, just perma-stunned, and I can't do anything, and I'm dying. Even with CI, the snakes are dealing chaos damage, but the map has extra damage as cold. Yeah, and this extra damage as cold is the only thing that damages me, unless the snakes also deal some fists, and it's fizz and chaos. But I'm just thinking it's probably more the cold damage. But I realize that I get stunned, and I press escape. Yeah, so being like just knowing, oh, this is a risky situation, this is a risky map, saved me here. Knowing my character saved me. You know, it's like with humans, you want to know the other human, and you want to. Okay, wait, actually, never mind. This is not a real talk video. Another example, okay? How to know your character and its limits. This is another example. This is my closest call overall, I think, on the push to 100, basically. Yeah. Who also, like 13K here, look at this. 13,110 and 4K. Why do I not die here? Like, some people came to my stream and were like, what? This is inhuman reactions. How did you react this fast? That's insane. Yeah, it's not really. It's way more knowledge. Again, I'm in a map. Look at the map mods. Increased damage, 59%. And when I approach a shrine, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think, by the way, that this cold shrine, this cold damage shrine, this has this cold spinny thing here, I am not 100% sure, I didn't look it up, but it's something like it gives the monsters 100% of damage as extra cold damage. Something like that. So I am approaching a shrine, and again, I know, oh, my character is like not completely overflown, and in general, it's a shrine. It can have a lot of bad things at the same time. And then look at the top now, look at the top here. You see this rare? Razor knife. Dude, this guy nearly razor knifed my, I cannot say that word on Twitch, on YouTube. Extra physical damage aura. That's toxic. But that means you guys have a map mod, increase monster damage 59% on the map itself. You have extra physical damage aura rare. You have the shrine. And if you approach a situation like that, you need to be the alert emote. I don't know if you guys know the alert emote. There is like a cat emote that has like, anyway, you need to be alert like 100%. And the moment you get stunned or anything happens, just press escape, just to be sure. I can tell you guys, if I escape 1 or 2 frames later, I'm dead. That's how fast it can go. It was actually insane. But I get stunned, and the stun, I hear the stun as well. That's the reason I react. I am not insane god gamer, blah. It's just knowing about the dangerous situation. Okay? And this is like a very important thing that I feel like no one talks about. And I think a lot of people are dying to it. But this is not skill issue. This death is not skill issue. It is more of a knowledge issue and got baited by me into acrobatics too early. So learn from this, think about your character, and use knowledge and use brain. Okay? And you can do it, don't worry. All right, so defensive layers. There's one more that I want to talk about, and that is something softcore trade players will be very happy about. Guys, it is insane to one-shot packs and to kill packs before they can hit you. Now you guys say, hey, you don't say forehead, Lemao. But it's maybe a little bit deeper. So I played Ice Strike, and people often ask me, why do you not play Flicker Strike? Maybe in a normal voice, and maybe they didn't even want to be mean. But listen. My answer was usually, my Ice Strike is dealing cold damage. I like to freeze enemies, and that's true. Until you one-shot them. And there are some passive nodes that probably barely anyone takes, like first approach. I'm a non-crit build. I tried this out, and I think it's worth. Because last line, 80% increased damage with hits against enemies that are on full life. For mapping, that means there is like a certain break point. If you use any ability but you hit a certain breakpoint where you are one-shotting white and maybe even blue packs before they can hit you. That is an insanely good defensive layer. Insanely good defensive layer. And maybe you guys are playing a build right now where you need to attack 2 times, but maybe you also close here, or maybe you have some other interesting tech, because I would even say I would give up 2000 energy shields for mapping to one-shot packs. That's how much I think it's worth, instead of like 2-shotting them or 3-shotting them with my Ice Strike. So killing them before they kill you, or freeze them before they can attack you, insanely good defensive layer. And maybe you can also try to play around with your own build right now and try to find that sweet spot, okay? Please do not underestimate that. Another thing that I want to talk about is flat damage. This game is a little bit insane. So I'm playing Ice Strike in Volcar, right? And whoops, I don't want to hear myself. I have this ring. This ring has increased lightning damage and some increased or some flat damage. So it's like one prefix for flat fire damage. The lightning damage is whatever. 30% of my damage is lightning, but it's really whatever. Now, it's fire damage to attacks while I'm playing a cold lightning build, right? And I deal 71,000 DPS right now. Now guess if I am not I'm not having ingenuity, I have Headhunter here. Now guess for yourself, what is the number of Ice Strike going to be when I unequip this ring? It is basically just the increased the flat fire damage. It is basically 10%. This ring is 10% of my damage. 10%. Like, it's insane. It goes from 71.7 to 65.9. While I have a weapon like this, I, by the way, didn't put a third rune. I just corrupted it for fun after I reached 100, but I didn't put a rune. Still, with this weapon, with Hoa gloves, this ring is giving me nearly 10% or around about 10% damage. That's crazy. It really is so, so good. That is another thing. It is not just first approach. You can always get some flat damage on your rings, and that's going to save your day a little bit. All right, Sadwise, I have like a resistance ring because Headhunter, no one cares, no one asked. I know, I am sorry. Another thing, Chaos Res. Right now, CI is strong. CI is strong because of a few things. It is not just, oh, you are immune to chaos damage now. Like, there are some moments where you just love to be CI. One of them is Ritual. In Ritual, my character just stands still, does nothing, and I just like put down Bell and I hold down right click. That's me in Ritual. But in general, if something kills you in early maps while you're like a hybrid character, you have like maybe 1k life, 3k energy shield, and you open a breach, it is going to be chaos damage. Take Chaos Res very serious. You don't care about it until you get one shot. Do not run around the maps with 20 Chaos Res, ever. But also keep in mind, getting Chaos Res might be hard, but it also doesn't make sense. Let's say I have 2,000 energy shield and 1,000 life. It is likely easier to get 70 Chaos Res than it is to get this 1k EHP right now. So what I mean by that is balance it out. Don't just take CI because the build guide you follow uses it, and then you travel there, and at level 50 you click CI and you run around with 1k ES. And do not upload videos with characters in the end game that have 2,000 energy shield. That is like a little bit... Okay, I'm stopping here right now. Now, you guys get the point, right? There is sunk cost. Wait, that's not it. It is just sometimes not worth, okay? CI needs brain. However, you need to fix Chaos Res. And if you're saying, yeah, but I have 3k ES and 1.5k life, but I didn't find a singular Chaos Res item, stay in campaign. Don't go into maps. Or click CI and die at own risk. But yeah, whatever. So next thing I want to talk about real quick is you play a CI build maybe now, and you have maybe 5k ES or something like that. Stun will always be something where you want to have one of these jewels. Like for me, one is fine. One felt completely fine. If I did not put in a map with 200 stun build up, this jewel alone for 8.5k ES was fine for me. But maybe you have half my ES, then take 2 of them, obviously, right? Or take like these nodes. Like a little bit of stun threshold is needed. Freeze charm for me was totally enough. I never got frozen when I played the game. Seriously. Like, I maybe got frozen when I tested stuff in a map, but nothing freezes you or should freeze you at some point because the charm should refill again. And if you still get frozen while doing normal mapping, it is without wanting to sound mean, it's because you don't kill stuff fast enough. So you basically want to change it. I would not invest into freeze in any way, but charm. Charm, good. Anything else, IMO, not really worth. Okay, then next is shock. This game is a little bit different. You can reach certain thresholds where you deal like 20% of your damage is lightning damage. And then suddenly you can shock enemies. In PoE 1, it was different than in PoE 2. I'm not going to explain how it was in PoE 1 because it doesn't help anyone that wants to try PoE 2 or wants to improve in PoE 2. In PoE 2, very easy. You want to hit a certain point where you deal enough damage to shock the enemy. And if you shock it, 20% more damage multiplier. Try, if it works for you, to find something that gives you that lightning damage. I cannot tell you, yeah, you need exactly this percent. It obviously depends on blah, blah, blah. But listen, maybe you play a pure fist build. But there is this Sanctum Jewel, this unique jewel, I forgot the name, that is giving you 4% of damage as extra lightning damage per blah, blah, blah. And then maybe you can get like 16 or 20, and then you can go into a map and you can look at the monsters at the top. And then you can try out, do I shock them? Because then, instead of like 16% of damage as extra lightning, you also get a 20% more multiplier through the shock you apply. So try to utilize that stuff. For me, having charged a staff and I am the thunder was enough. Usually, I shocked bosses from there on. Oh, and I had... oh no, I'm not even using that anymore. But you can also take this if you're like maybe an invoker. If you try play other, so keep in mind there are these ailments, like especially shock is probably the best. And maybe you're not playing a lightning build by default, but maybe you can press in some lightning damage somewhere and then just like run through a few maps, watch the monsters. You have a bar on top of a monster. Maybe you can shock it. Very potent. Okay. All right. I showed you the clips already. Another thing I want to say, usually, when something was scary for me, it was often elemental damage. That's why I would, in general, say avoid maps that have elemental penetration as a mod. Oopsies. Because that is a little bit insane. Okay, so elemental damage is what is like a little bit risky, but I usually also like I would say the combinations are usually scary. If you run maps that have only one bad mod, even though Penetrate is probably arguably the worst for most builds, but one mod is usually always fine. It is usually a combination of mods that is going to get you killed at some point. So think about like how much can my character take. Another thing I want to say, I once did a ritual, or whatever, I have a clip here, yeah? If any one of you guys wants to stop at some point to actually verify it, you can do it, or just believe me right here. So I do a ritual, it has these pots on the bottom, and the map has damage as extra fire, 49%, and increased monster damage. So these pots are usually pure chaos and IMCI, but you can, as I said, you can like pause frames. You will see sometimes when I'm getting hit by the pots and I take damage. That means that map mods, for example, do affect those. Now, if you like, I don't know, you are CI but 2k HP or whatever, keep that in mind. Like these things are getting affected by map mods. So maybe sometimes you think, oh, this is only chaos damage, but even like the ritual ground effect is something that is getting affected by map modifiers. Okay? Then again, think, what is my character capable of right now? Test, run maps, and recap why did I die? And then you will learn, and from time to time, you'll get more experience. And if you guys are motivated to try Hardcore SSF, you're gonna die a few times. I died 5 times before this character in Hardcore SSF, and when I reached 100, but I'm a PoE 1 nerd, okay? I played a lot of PoE 1. So, I think if you guys are motivated to try out Hardcore, or Hardcore SSF, expect to die a few times. But try to not be disheartened. I was disheartened, holy. And then I rerolled this character, and I was like, okay, if I die with this guy, I'm not going to go ever again. And instead, now I played this guy for 22 days of in-game play. Try to not demotivate yourself too much when you die. Try to learn from it. There is no good Path of Exile player that does not have a lot of rips. But the people on top, they learn from them. And that's what you should do. and do not be disheartened by it, okay? If you feel like, oh, it's fun to do hardcore SSF and I want to go, then go. And if you die, do not dare to say, I am just too bad for this. You're not. You just lack experience. That shrine clip, remember that. This is not skill. This is experience and not skill. But I think most people that see this clip will probably say, oh, I would have died. I would have never. No, you can. You just need to know. You just need to have something like a predictive brain. But that comes with experience and that comes with watching other people die in game. So that is how you get good at hardcore. Basically, watch all the other people, how they died, learn from it, blah. Okay. Last but not least, I want to talk about my Atlas tree real quick. So I pushed XP. This is the tree. Do not copy anything of it unless you want to push for XP. And the breach tree, again, density and close and open faster. Only take this if you can handle it. Think about your own character. This was basically worth it because like this has insane drops, I think. And yeah, what you're gonna do is you're gonna prepare maps and you try to get something like this here with the 4 things or 3 things are very important, and that is breach, irradiate, corruption. Okay, but then you get this and you're happy, and then you see, oh, it's a crypt map, and then you want to dog leaf again. Anyways, how do you push for XP? How do you push for 100? I don't know if it's the general best solution that I have right here, but yeah, as I said, this is the passive tree. You need to kill Arbiter 0. This node will save you a lot of time if you want to XP. This node is very good, okay? And in general, you basically have to do right now all the towers and then this is actually not the worst example. You run all the towers and then you run the maps around them. I just never did this map lol. But first line in blue, 48% increased experience gained. Yeah, this is what you want to have. And then the order or the priority of stuff is you want to have, like, if you have Arbiter 0 killed and you have the 10 bossing points, no? If you have this, then I would say, with my feeling and like looking at a few numbers, the best thing you can have on a map is a boss because it's always irradiated and it has 30% chance to contain corruption. The second thing that you want to have is breach, and then the third thing is just irradiated maps when it comes to XP. If you can full clear breaches. Yeah, breaches have a certain amount of monsters they can spawn, and then they cannot spawn any more monsters. Okay. One more thing, corruption has different outcomes. So maybe you had a map once and you saw like reduced experience or something like that. I obviously do not have anything prepared right now to show. But basically, if a map has corruption like this, it can sometimes have 100% increased XP and I think 30% reduced rarity or quantity of items found, or 50. And it can also have something like minus 30 or minus 50 XP and then some rarity. The maps you run should always have like a small moment where you think about the map, basically. You want to think, like, if I have a map, for a just example, if I would have a Spider Woods where we were here, and this would have corruption and 100% increased experience gained from the corruption, I put in my T6, my only T16 that also has 30% increased experience because Giga Juice, yeah? So these are some things that you can also keep in mind. I don't know anything about juicing in terms of currency making. Go to Fabgun's channel for that. But I think for now, that's it. I am going to maybe make a part 2. Feel free to comment. Actually, one last thing. But yeah, feel free to comment in the video below on what you would like to see or other questions you have. One last thing I want to say real quick is if you don't have anything for weapon swapping right now, at least do what I did. Take this shield. The weapon doesn't matter. Take the shield for increased cooldown recovery rate and put blink on there. And right now I have like this, but I can always blink, and when I have like a giga cooldown recovery rate, there's always something. And for that you can also take the other weapons for passive tree. No, just don't ask me. Okay, this is just to have some cooldown recovery rate, okay, and to move a little bit faster. But yeah, as I said, guys. If you have other questions or anything else, leave it in the comments. Maybe in the future I'm going to do some more campaign in-depth or leveling in-depth. I'm just not qualified yet, I think, for it. And maybe I'm going to do a part 2 of this. But until then, have a good one. Thanks for watching and bye.